So what are we going with?
Rzning?
I like
This
that.
is a podcast.
I'm just gonna go anytime.
With Sims.
We're just two guys.
You want to hear
a lot of shit going on.
Listen to it, see what comes out.
So, yeah, in terms of just an interesting theme, we had some prior discussion on this, but I found it really, it's an interesting point of discussion that could lead into so many other discussions. But headline of masculinity and what it means, what masculinity means to different people in modern times. I mean, within our lifetimes, we've had a lot of terms being bandied about. We've had people kind of off kilter with what they think, not masculinity as a role, but masculinity as the traits that are, masculine traits that are negative and positive. Yeah. We've had the term toxic masculinity being brought about. And you even bring that up, and people's ideas of toxic masculinity are skewed and so different from person to person. So I found it interesting how on this was an online discussion on Instagram where someone asked the question of like, what does masculinity mean to you guys? Pipe in, chime in. Being a man's man, so to speak, and masculinity in this day and age, what does that mean to you? And you had some crazy responses that made me seriously question people's ages in this thread. Do you know what I mean?
That's what you gotta understand. When you see discussions online, especially places like Instagram, where there's a profile attached to the person, but it's you can wiggle your way out of that. Facebook is a little bit different. It's a little bit more open. But when or even Twitter, when you're in a conversation or you're watching the comment section blow up, and you're seeing this, that, and the other person comment, you don't know who the hell is this talking.
Yeah.
None of the, and also as well, people will say stuff just for a reaction. So it's like, you don't know if that person genuinely believes that or not, or if they're just saying it to be ha ha ha. Yeah. Or like they're sitting behind their keyboard and watching everyone get triggered by it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you have to take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
I think the term masculinity, I don't think the term masculinity is dangerous. I think what masculinity has been used to justify in the past is dangerous. And I'm all for evolving, not the term, but the use of the term. So masculinity can mean whatever you want it to mean, providing you're not discriminating against anyone.
Yeah.
Because you feel like as a man or as a masculine person, you can emasculate somebody else, or you can shame somebody else, or you can restrict somebody else's ability to live a certain standard of living. Yeah. And obviously, I mean, the opposite of masculine would be feminine. Now, on the back, if you're using masculinity as a reason for discriminating against women, that's a problem.
True.
It's not a masculine problem. Masculinity has been used to justify the problem. So women should do X, Y, and Z, men do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
If we're talking about, let's look at like the reason why men are so aggressive, well, I would say more physically aggressive than women even in modern society, is because carnally, we're here to protect. We're here to fight. You know what I mean? We are naturally the bigger species.
Yeah.
So when shit pops off on a protection level, on a protecting, and someone needs protecting, we're the ones that are called into action. And the accolades of being a man come from when shit popped off. Did you act?
Yeah.
Did you behave? Did you do what you needed to do? Did you were you active? Kind of thing. Now that's masculinity. For that, if you're protecting, say, your mom or your sister or females in your family, someone say breaks in the house and you're the only man in the house, and you get to work, you get to crack in and you protect everyone in the house, and you know what I mean, you avert the danger.
Yeah,
you've acted in what would be considered a masculine manner, but a woman could have done that. My mom could have been capable of doing that.
Yeah, true,
like
true.
So is it masculinity? Yeah or no? Do you know what I mean? I think at that point it doesn't really matter. Somebody got to cracking because they needed to do.
Yeah, I quite like one valid point that's often raised in this discussion is as a man, like personally, and others that I've spoken to, these two themes, and one of them that you just touched on there, as a provider and a protector in the family context, everyone in a family has a role, a specific role. Obviously, it's you chop and change depending on the situation, because no two families are ever the same. But provide and protect. So you've mentioned the protect side of things. But then there's a flip side where I feel sometimes, and in this thread and in this discussion, a lot of times there were people just chiming in, almost looking for someone who's reaching, almost looking for someone to, I saw the term mansplaining a lot, right? And for me personally, like this term, I've used it, banded out about a few times. But I don't think I fully understand what is mansplaining.
So
why is it getting thrown around
so from
these
what
days
I've
like this?
From what I understand, it's just the adaptation where a man is patronizing a woman. So for instance, I give you a perfect
Mansplaining, manspreading,
No, it's explaining. Man explaining. That's where the hybrid word comes from. So I'll give you a cliche example. So imagine a woman brings her car into a mechanic. Now the mechanic is a man. The man is saying, the man has assumed that the woman knows fuck all about cars. So now he's kind of patronizing her in a way. She's coming and saying, it's not working. What's wrong with it? And he's like, well, love, have you put petrol in it? Of course I fucking put petrol in it. Well, that's fucking...
But mechanics take the piss with that stuff.
Do you see what I mean? Like, that would be... Well, and then if you went on to say, well, you have to put petrol in it, love, in order for it to work and, for the car to go boom, boom. That is mansplaining. That's patronizing. But the reason why it's mansplaining, because it's a cliche example. It's a typical example of a man patronizing a woman because he thinks that because she's a woman, she doesn't know
anything about cars.
Do you see what I mean? So that would be mansplaining. But sometimes I'm seeing mansplaining kicked about, and it's just like, no, I'm explaining it to you and you haven't grasped the fundamentals of this, so I'm going to have to teach you. I'm going to have to explain to you as if you didn't know anything. Because you've prior demonstrated you don't know what you're talking about. But people get upset when they're being babied to, or when they're being when they feel like them. If you feel like you've been patronized, doesn't mean you've been patronized. If you know what I mean. I'm not. If I explain it to you in the most simplest of forms, and you feel offended, that's your business.
That's on you.
You could have. You know what I mean. That's your problem, because you don't. At this point, you don't like being told when you don't understand something. That's your issue. Problem. It's not me mansplaining. I've explained it to you in a simple and efficient way. You just didn't get it. You're stupid. If you want me to, I could just say, I could explain to you in the most what's it called, technical term, and what you rattle, what you flap, because you don't know what I'm talking about. Do you know what I mean? So that term mansplaining only really applies in certain circumstances, and I don't really agree with these hybrid words being made just to target a demographic. Just say what the word is. You're patronizing them because they're women. Just call it that. Don't start making buzzwords. Then you give, because you know what it is. Do you know what do you know why I hate buzzwords? Because they give unintelligent people this kind of book of this vocabulary to make it sound like they know what the fuck they're talking about. If you knew what you were talking about, you would use words that have been around for centuries. You wouldn't be using 2020 words.
You wouldn't be using hashtags.
Basically, this is not a rap battle. Say what you need to say. And
mansplaining 20 points.
Exactly. Like Scrabble for the man. Like, you know what I mean?
Mansplaining for 20 points, please.
Scrabble equality. So I think so when people... And I literally, when I'm looking at a debate unfold online, or just people chiming in with their comments, when I see a buzzword, I just turn off, man.
And leave
I turn off. Like, I'm just like, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. And even if you do, you've kind of trivialized your whole point by using these terms. If you knew what you're talking about, like,
you
for instance,
wouldn't reach for that.
I rate of all the people that I hear speak, in like today's age and with like people from our generation, Carla. You will never hear Carlos talking about using these terms.
True.
Because he knows what he's talking about. He's able to explain and demonstrate and illustrate by using words that we all know already. He doesn't need to use buzzwords. So you can rate a man. It's like, do you know what it's like? It's akin to when you've got a fucking rapper and they coming out with all these random ass words. Yeah, they sound dope and they might lick in the club and people might be using them in their captions for months. But what have they actually said? They're not. You can never tell me that they're a lyricist. They've just made up these random noises that sound like words. Do you know what I mean? Like, for instance, I give you CJ, whoop-dee. It's a new rhythm, right? It bangs. What the fuck is whoop-dee?
Lick off a tune,
It's a big rhythm. But if you tell me, if you try to tell me,
whoop-dee, scoop-dee.
Yeah.
Bro.
But if you're gonna sit there and tell me that he's a better lyricist than, say, I don't know, Mos Def, do you know what I mean? Or Rex Free 2, you're moving mad. Do you see what I mean? So that's what I see when I see people using these terms, and I'm like, I hear you, I can see you're passionate.
Yeah.
But I'm not taking you seriously because you fail to use comprehensive English.
Yeah.
You've used this to kind of engage people, but you ain't giving them nothing.
Exactly.
That's my point. It's social media politicians.
Yeah.
That's where that comes from.
I like that.
Use
term.
big
social
words.
Media politicians. Yeah.
Use buzzwords to distract people from the fact that you know not what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
And there'll be a load of people tapping up your like button because it sounds good.
Yeah.
No.
It's a whoop-dee.
It's a whoop-dee.
But is there
Pishing wang wang, pishing wang wang, a whole bunch of pishing wang wang.
So
in
is
the comment
there
section.
a female equivalent of mansplaining? What is that? Is there a term?
I don't think there's a term. We just call it. Do you know what it is? There is a term, and it is derogatory. I think it's more derogatory than saying mansplaining or whatever. It's called being bitchy.
Oh.
I think that's what the equivalent would be. If there was an equivalent, they would be bitchy, and that's been around for years.
Do you know what? Yeah, actually, that's a very good point, because if a female had been mansplained to and took offense to that, then the same person who would maybe reach for the term mansplain, if they had that happen to them from another female, I can easily see them reaching and being like, yeah, she's being a bitch.
Yeah,
she's, do you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, 100%. So I get that.
And do you see
maybe
how,
there might be another term out there, but
do you see how, like, now we're all accustomed to the word bitchy and what it means in certain contexts and whatever, but do you see how calling somebody a bitch is, and I learned this term earlier this week, a vague modifier. It's an ambiguous term used to describe something that just gives it a general understanding. It doesn't actually define anything. So if somebody, do you know what it is? It's like when somebody says, oh, I don't really like that person. Oh, why? He's a dickhead. That doesn't really explain why you don't like him.
For what?
What did that person do
Yeah.
that you didn't agree with or you didn't like.
Yeah.
He's just a dickhead.
There's no one characteristic
Right, so-
for dickheads.
Exactly. They're so vague
Yeah.
that if someone wasn't to pay attention to what you're saying and just went off the notion or the narrative that you're trying to push, they would be like, oh yeah, I can see what you mean. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't see, because they've failed to explain it to you, because they've been so ambiguous. They've been so vague about what it is they're trying to cover all bases so that you just don't like it. So you agree with their point and not with their definition. So bitch, bitchy, things of that nature, when you're describing somebody or somebody's characteristics, it's sort of like, doesn't really define anything.
Yeah.
You can't, like, what it means to you in that context might mean something different to what I think it means. So it's like, it's just, like I said, it's a vague modifier. It's literally one of those terms where you just throw it out there to get your feeling across without actually explaining what you mean.
Exactly.
And I think therein lies
Easy
miscommunication and miscomprehension. Similar thing to what we were talking about last week about the whole "I come to you as a woman."
Yeah.
That can mean so many different things.
So many comments about that topic. And so the discussion, I'm not going to rehash it and go back over it. You know, some people took it for what it was. It was funny. It was a little chuckle. It's like, yeah, that phrase, "I come to you as a woman."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it is what it is. Like, this is the disclaimer that I'll bring at this point. These are the views, these are opinions on something that's commonly said. My opinion will differ from your opinion.
Exactly.
Your opinion will differ from whoever else.
And that's based on the experiences that we've both seen.
Exactly.
Do
We've
you know
all
what I mean?
lived different lives. So
It's a
in terms of like
360 fucking-
things discussed on this platform, this is one thing that I will say. You've got your opinion. Let it be heard. Drop us a message, DM us on the Insta, whatever. Get in touch and active and involved. But
What's up? Yeah, don't just
once the post goes up, it can't be a thing of like, I strongly disagree with you on that point, blah blah.
Do you know
As
what
if
as well?
like it's not a sent for me. It's just it's an open discussion.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Did you see the thing that happened in PSG match?
yeah, Dembaba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fam.
My bro. Show them.
Boy. He patented
Show
it.
them.
The whole
You know what I
22
mean?
players and staff and reserves
Precisely
left
what
the
needs
pitch
to
because
happen.
of one foolish guy.
Yeah. What should have been happening?
Patent.
Do you know what? What should have been happening anytime there's any sort, bro? There's been games where I forgot who the player was. Man goes for a corner kick. He's doing his job. He's trying to work. He's getting bananas flung at him.
Bruv,
the game went on. They played
Premier
He played the rest of the
League.
game. They all played the rest of the game. People ignored it, and I'm like, people making monkey sounds and throwing bananas at your teammate,
It's disrespectful.
and you're gonna keep playing and be like, maybe even have a word about it later in the locker room and say, "Oh, that was wrong. That was well out of order." Blah blah. Why didn't you do something? Do you know what I mean?
Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest.
Yeah.
But they staged that and not staged it, but they just all said nah.
They
I'm not
firmed it
having
and walked off.
Yeah. And then do
Precisely.
you know what else as well? Really, really pissed me off. John Barnes. He's come up. Let me see if I can find the thing that he said. 'Cause one of them is going to be sent off, and the ref asked the fourth official which one should he send off. Can anyone tell me how he should identify him, as he doesn't know their names, and they aren't wearing numbers other than the black one. So he thinks it's okay
He thinks it's
to point
okay.
at somebody and say the black one,
Yeah.
or point at a group of people, obviously, and say the black one.
Yeah.
First of all, these are world professional players.
Yep.
You know who the fuck they are.
Yeah.
I'm not a football dumb by any means.
Yeah.
I know who these people are.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Same here.
So and then somebody else retweeted Stan Collymore here. He said, "Let me read that again."
I'm waiting for it here. I'm like,
Referees stay at a hotel the night before a game. UEFA give them a pack with all relevant playing and coaching staff info.
Yeah.
Referee team rely on this to identify people they are working with. So the answer is assistant manager Pierre Weibo, red card. Not the black one.
yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Is
Fucking hell, man.
I just love the way that instantly just was like, without question. It wasn't a case of like, let's think about the implications of what we're doing.
No.
Like
Just,
this is how
we're
you
off.
deal with
We're
racists. End.
gone.
End. It's not a long call. It's not a long chat. This is how you deal with racists. Do you know what I mean? And yeah,
Bottom line, man, like, and at the end of the day, like, that guy had opportunity to think about what he was
Yes.
gonna say before
Yes.
he said it,
Yeah.
and he still chose to do that.
Yeah.
So you got to think to yourself, imagine when he's in a type. Do you know what I mean? Imagine
Yeah.
when he's in a situation and he just sees color.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you, first and foremost, the first thing you mentioned was these are world-class professionals. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is not, we're on the street
These are not Sunday league.
and someone's pointed out a total stranger down the road and
Yeah.
asked me, describe the person who just walked past you, and you know, I've got very little information to go on. No, these are professionals of a very
And you
high
know who
standard
they
and
are.
level. You know who they are.
been given
I
their
know who they are.
information.
I don't watch football, but I know who they are, for goodness sake. So,
And do you know what it is as well? You get, and this is what makes it kind of even more difficult to stand up to racism as a black person, when you've got players like John Barnes
yeah.
who should know better.
Yep.
He's a grown man. Not he's a grown man, but he's a black man. He's a black man that has played football, and he played it during a period of time where, like, he was one of the elite. He played for England, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? Everyone knew
He gave us a
he
one
was.
little cheeky rap verse that
But do you know what it was? I said this from day.
it really was kind of bubbling, but
Yeah, but
now,
he was whack.
now-
But he was whack. I said this. I said black people have disowned him since they realized he couldn't rap on beat. So it's like, we don't really care what he's saying, but big man, keep your mouth shut, because the racist white people are still looking at you, like, yeah, it's not a problem, is it? No, it is a fucking problem.
Even John Barnes said, blah,
Even
blah.
John
Our
Barnes said
reference
it.
point-
Hold on a minute.
You know
John
what?
Barnes, the irony of being called Barnes. Barnes belong in the field. You should be called John House Nigger. That's what you should be called.
John
Because
Uncle-
you consistently,
Uncle Sam.
you consistently do this foolishness.
Yeah.
Whenever there's an inch
Yeah.
to defend white people or defend like racism, racists against racism,
Yeah.
you're the first one.
Yeah.
And you keep getting drawn into it. Big
These
man, shut up.
Antics remind me of Charles Barkley. What he, anytime there's
yeah.
a big debate on a topic like this, yeah, he's
People can get paid, you know. Like, people, capitalism is a real problem. Like, some people think, is this gonna mess up my bag? If it's gonna mess up your bag, and you don't say nothing,
Yeah.
But to go the extra step and
The
defend
extreme.
it, and
Yeah.
defend this foolishness, come
Yeah.
on. Now you're just being disrespectful.
Yeah.
At the very least, if you didn't say nothing, we could have been like, maybe he's just trying to look after his bag. Maybe he's just trying, like, he's looking after himself before anyone else.
Yeah.
It's a bit, whatever, but
Yeah.
you can't chastise him for anything. He's not done anything.
Yeah.
He's not, because he's not done something is bad enough, but he's not said anything to further damage.
Yeah.
John Barnes loves to open up his mouth. No one black is asking you anything. Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
So it goes back to that conversation what we were talking about earlier about reprimanding children and punishing them and that. And it's just like, it's kind of toxic and to use a buzzword, but it's very telling of when you get young boys when they cry or when they're being punished. It's kind of like more severe than say young girls. And for me, the problem lies within this kind of like our boys are more able to handle, not needing to cry or not needing to express their emotions. They're boys. That whole boys will be boys kind of thing.
Yeah.
Boys are expected or even encouraged to tell people how they feel.
Yeah.
Now you fast forward that same young boy, that same generation into a male, into a grown man, and at what point were we supposed to learn this stuff?
Yeah.
We were just supposed to just magically turn 18 or become a man or get married or, do you know what I mean? And learn these things off bat.
Exactly.
And I think that's a very, very dangerous road to go down, even from a kid stage.
Yeah.
You need to speak to your kids. You need to encourage them to speak to you. And so you can help them on their journey to understand and, critically evaluate the situation they're in.
Yeah.
And understand that, it might be bad, but, get it off your chest, explain, a problem, was it a problem shared is a problem halved?
Yeah.
Stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like,
Yeah.
like get it off your chest. Like, let people know that you're feeling some type of way. And then when you get older, it won't be a case of, how are you feeling? It'll be a case of, this is how I'm feeling. Like, you're encouraged. You'll be
you're
telling,
forthcoming with
you'll be
that.
telling,
Yeah.
your intimate circle so that you're not keeping it to yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's I think women sometimes think that men are like hiding things from them.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, we don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, and
in
you're
our own
trying to
like
process and deal with
trauma.
that.
Yeah, we don't understand what kind of. We don't even notice it sometimes.
Exactly.
That's the worst part. Like,
Yeah.
man, them are so removed from our emotions sometimes.
Yeah.
That we can't even recognize when we are under stress.
Exactly.
We can't even, and it builds up.
Yeah.
And then we lash out or whatever. We can't
Exactly.
recognize when
Get to a
something-
boiling point.
Exactly, man.
Yeah.
So it's a mad one. Like, and I think it does stem from like parenting.
Yeah.
Don't stifle your kids by punishing them or putting the rod to them
Yeah.
or the slipper in most cases.
Yeah.
But yes, it's a mad one. Like,
I always find it quite. I mean, it's that phrase like "boys don't cry, stop crying, boys don't cry," but it's like, yo, you are beating me with a belt. Am I meant to do a stand-up comedy routine right now?
Do you know what I mean?
Am I meant to do Sudoku? I mean,
some parents,
of course I'm gonna cry because it's sore and I'm a kid.
Some parents, I've heard stories about people defending themselves. Like you go for you go to get your mum's going to lash you,
Yeah.
and you put your arm up to defend. And she's like, "Oh, you want to
mistake.
challenge me?" Like, you know what I mean? I've heard them stories. I'm just like, hold on a minute,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
You've got the weapon.
Exactly.
How am I?
Why am I not gonna?
Am I
human?
Am I supposed to just be submissive to your beating me because you are upset?
Yeah.
Or you are unhappy? What part? Like, if I did an experiment with my child and I went to beat them and they just stood there and took it, I think one of two things: either
Demon child.
either my child's a demon, exactly.
I'll be scared.
Either my child's a
I'm
demon,
sleeping with the door locked tonight. 'cause-
or they are so downtrodden that they don't even think they're worth defending themselves.
Oh, all right.
That's
okay.
a problem.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's our next.
Either way, we have an issue. We have a big issue.
Yeah.
Because then if I send you out into the world, you're going to get stepped on or you're going to do some serious damage to somebody.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want either of that.
Yeah.
So
That's always worrying when there's a fight or something and someone doesn't even put up an act to defend themselves. They're just taking licks. It's like one side is like, oh shit, what if they got in the tank that I don't know about? Like, this could be some serious soldier of
It's like a mind game.
mercenary of
fight back. It's like,
I mean, like a trained, disciplined.
yeah, like a
soldier
monk
type.
or something. Like a man just there meditating while holding beats to the face, and then like
Hey,
when the
who's
other-
about to do
when
some
the other guy's
Wing Chun.
exhausted.
Do you know what I mean?
Whoosh, off with his head.
Exactly. Either that or it's like I think that's the most concerning, to be honest. That's the one. If I was in a situation where I'm either slapping someone up, hitting someone, and they are very straight faced, very focused, looking straight ahead.
I'm scared.
I am casually
Hi, I'm scared.
putting my arms down and just assessing,
Hello?
looking left and right to see if there's something I don't know. Maybe there's something behind me that they can see, and I'm just like,
do you know that?
and then I'm leaving.
Do you know that? Now you're
because
saying that, right? That's actually like
I do not want that.
not in a physical altercation, but I've been told the arguments I had with, like, say, exes or whatever,
Yeah.
because I don't respond, it's almost worse for them.
Oh, okay.
They
They want a big response.
Yeah, they want a reaction because boy, you'd have to ask them why. But like, they want a reaction. But I think for me, I'm just like, no, you want me to give you a big reaction. I'm not going to give you what you want because you want me to get riled up and you want to draw me out so that you can feel better about yourself. Now both of us are feeling some type of way. No, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna keep my peace.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna just let you have your say, and then I'm gonna walk off.
Yeah. True.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not getting dragged into this, and I think for some people that's worse because then I've been told, "Oh, you don't care."
Oh,
so
okay.
no, I do care. I just care more about my peace of mind
than I do
care
about
appeasing your big old argument. Like, if you want to discuss this, you know, calmly and maturely, then we can. Calm down first.
Yeah. Ooh, tell that to a woman. Hey.
Bruv.
In those precise words, there's many other ways you can phrase
learned
it.
not to.
Okay.
I've learned not to.
I was going to say, how has that worked out for you to say calm down?
See, calm down. Do you know what it is? It just doesn't work. Even if I don't get this whole, even if it doesn't accelerate the anger that she's feeling, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So now I've said 2 words more than I ever want to say to contribute to this discussion, and it hasn't done anything. That to me is an inefficient use of language. So I'm just gonna say, you know, whatever. Like, say what you need to say, and I'll just take my cue and be like, you're not in a right headspace to have this conversation.
Yeah.
I've said it to so many times to different people. I'll be like, right, well, we can discuss that at another time, because I can hear in my head, that they are on one.
Yeah.
You calm down first. You must stay calm if you want to interact with me, first of all. Do you know what I mean? The only excitement I accept is when it's banter, when it's haha, kiki.
Yeah.
When it's anger and vim and all the rest of it, and, you know, you're trying to disrespect me.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you any. I'm not adding energy to that. You can argue with yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Write it down. Look in the mirror. That's who you're arguing with. At this point, I'm not involved.
Yeah.
Whatever issue
Count
you've
me
got
out.
going over there, at this point, all I'm doing is overhearing it.
Yeah.
I'm not listening to you. So, and I think for some people, because when I get into that situation, I would just lock off. They see it as like, oh yeah, like, see, I'm right. Because your silence says it all. No.
What kind of logic is that? Like,
That's dumb.
like, what?
No. My silence
Your
says it all.
silence says it all.
My
Like,
silence tells you that I don't want to entertain this conversation.
Yeah.
Please understand what you're doing right this moment is verbally abusing me. You're like,
Yeah.
your lack of interaction when I'm trying to put sexual moves on you says everything. No, it doesn't. That's called a rapes. Okay, that's a rape. All right. Let's not start using the absence of something as a general rule of, I must be correct.
It means
no,
this.
you're not. It just means I don't want to partake.
Yeah.
I've got better things to do with my peace of mind.
Yeah.
So like, I think, and again, like, if you don't do anything, if you don't react to something, people often see that as you being more disrespectful. And it's like, no, I just respect myself more than I care to.
Then I care to take this further, and
But again, if we as men go back to that now, if we as men learn from a younger age or were encouraged to talk about things, maybe we could overcome that barrier before, you know, somebody else has to get irate.
Yeah.
So what I've started doing in recent years is, as soon as I'm upset about something, I take note of it. Yeah. Because where I am and the environment I'm in might not be the time or place to talk about it.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm very respectful of, because I don't want to be that person. When you go to a dinner party, you've had a fallout with your missus prior, and then you're putting on happy faces, and then, you know, someone gets drunk and says one too many things.
Yeah.
All right, just because I'm annoyed now,
yeah,
doesn't mean this is the right place to
Yeah, to
Do you know
have
what I mean?
this kind of
And
discussion.
even then, it doesn't mean that when we are out of earshot of them, of
Yeah.
the company, that we can still have the conversation. This is not the right. There's the environment.
Yeah.
There's the, how you're feeling about it.
Yeah.
And then there's the I don't know, the energy that you're carrying right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Relax. We'll wake up in the morning. Might be a little bit hungover.
Yeah.
But we're gonna be subdued.
Exactly.
We're only gonna have energy for words and listening.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think what men do is they see certain things like I'm talking in particular with women's. What men do is when they get angry, they feel like they can't say anything because automatically men are always going to be looking like the aggressor. So we feel like we can't say anything. And then because of that, it gets unsaid. And then the next day when we wake up, even if she apologizes, oh babe, I'm really sorry for what I did. Oh, it's all right. That's not healthy to just say, oh, it's all right. It's not, because she's not established what she's sorry for.
Yeah.
She could just be sorry because she made herself look like an idiot.
Yeah.
But she's not sorry for what she said. She means every part of it. And that's a discussion that I think a lot of man them need to have with their partners, with their friends. Like, if you've got something to say, take note of it. Don't ignore it. Don't push it to the sideline and be like, oh, it will sort itself out. Or I felt that way yesterday, but I don't feel that way now. It's calm. No, even if you are calm about it now, still let someone know that that's what happened.
Exactly.
Like,
and get true resolution of the...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Put it on the notice board and say, look, this is what pissed me off. Because now, if it happens again, the same person does the same thing and it happens again, you don't really have a right to get upset because you let it slide.
Yeah.
And that's, like I said, the thing that I've been practicing in the past few years is just, and obviously respectfully, as soon as it happens, let someone know. Because I'm not about to let it happen twice. I can be like, okay. I've told you once. The second time, you're adapting. Don't let there be a third time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll walk. You know what I mean? It's one of them. But what do you do in a situation like, say, like you're having an argument with somebody?
Yeah.
What's your kind of go-to?
I think similarly, I always seek to, the first question I ask is, okay, there's been a disagreement of sorts here. What is your true viewpoint on what has happened? If it's based on an event that has happened or a discussion, what's your true viewpoint? And I state mine. I say, this is how I truly feel. No cap. This is how I truly feel about this matter. Are we that far off? Or are we pretty much saying the same thing, but in different words? Is there really a difference in views here?
Yeah.
And then forward from that, it's like, okay, well, how can we come to an outcome? Because I feel like any sort of resolution discussion without a clear outcome, where it's left just kind of like, okay, we've gone back and forth, but there's no real, this is the end goal, this is what we are at a point of better understanding now, it's pointless.
Exactly.
So when there's a thing of like, okay, conflict will happen all the time. Do you know what I mean? That's how it goes. But when there's a clear kind of like, okay, this is how I feel, this is how you feel. Okay, there's some give and take here in terms of just slight compromise. I didn't see it from your point of view. You didn't see this part of it from my point of view. Then ultimately it comes to, do you know what? I better understand you as a person now and where you're coming from with this. You better understand me. So these are the points where I am not willing to bend. My view about this is this, and it will stay as this. This is the point that you are not willing to bend on. Either we agree to disagree, and that's that, or we find compromise and we find a middle point. But when we start in a conversation where it's not like, okay, this is what we're doing here. We're trying to get to that point where there is a bottom line. And if it's just, let's start this, but it's just to have back and forth going, that's when I switch off. Because I'm just like, back and forth for the sake of back and forth.
It's not
like
productive.
even away from like just like life and like relationship, the conflict, work conflict as well. Like I find myself in situations so many times where I'm at loggerheads with someone, and it's a thing of like, look, there needs to be a very fast resolution to. I'm not carrying this shit around for a week. Do you know what I mean? Certain people are happy to carry feels around for a week and do passive aggressive little sly. But I'm just like, no, my life is too busy and I've got too much going on in my life to carry this sly and to even acknowledge your little sly things that you do around the workplace because you've got feels. Do you know what I mean? You're not just vocalizing your problem with me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll be very head on and very direct and say, let's stop what we're doing right now. We need to do this now. It can't wait any longer because this is going to affect both our lives in terms of like what we have to do for the rest of the day. Let's just take 5 minutes, have that little chat.
See if I've ever had that conversation with somebody and I say, look, what is your issue? Because it's a speak now or forever hold your fucking mouth.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like now, like this is the perfect opportunity for you to say what's on your mind.
Yeah.
No holds barred. Obviously, be respectful of where we are.
Yeah.
But say what you need to
Have
say.
it out and just
Let's talk about it. Let's get it open and open. If you continue at that point to say no or it's fine.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
Fine is the worst.
Bruv,
It's
girls do that.
cool.
Girls do that
It's
thing
fine.
all the time, bro. Like, it's fine. And we're just like, we can see it's not fucking fine. We've given you the opportunity to have this conversation. And that's another thing as well. Like, I think for man them to draw out and say, look, what is the problem?
Yeah.
We are almost opening up ourselves. And I'm speaking at this from a male point of view, I guess.
Yeah.
We're opening up ourselves because we know something's not right. And we've almost sat there and said, you know what? We've painted a target on our face because we've asked. And it's obviously something we've done or that we've been involved in. So say it.
Yeah.
And then when they say, nah, I'm fine. It's like, okay, are you lying? Because I know you're not the type to not say something because you want to say something.
Yeah.
But you're just telling me you don't want to because now you're just being stubborn. Like, this isn't going to go away.
Yeah.
You're not going to feel any better. If it wasn't me that was the issue, you would have already told me. Or you would have said, I'm feeling this way because of something that happened X, Y. You would have said something.
Yeah.
But like, I think women do this thing where they're like, I'm fine. You're not fine. Let's talk about it. And I think that puts men off as well.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, I asked you. Because we're very simple creatures. That's how we maintain peace of mind in such a world.
Yeah.
Because we're like, if you say you're fine, I'm not going to ask you again.
Yeah.
It's not because I don't care.
Live the life of someone who is fine.
Exactly. What's going on, people? You're now listening to the Rzning and Szning podcast with myself, Ellington.
And me, King Sims,
Make sure you check out new episodes every Friday on Spotify.
and weekly on YouTube.
You can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Rzning and Szning podcast.